house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Over the Top updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Sean Keeley. Thank you so much for your support. You're awesome. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day like Sean, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so yesterday, Alex and Scott were having a strategy chat, and Scott, it almost seems like doesn't think he's the target this week. What? But he's like, if it comes down to it, we should keep Whitney over Morgan. Like, if it's the two of them, you know, deciding which ones they're gonna get rid of. So he is like, Whitney is likable, and there's a good chance that she would get a care package from America, and that would help our side. He's saying Morgan is basic and not likely to get a care package. Yes, say that to Morgan's sister, but obviously he doesn't know that. But he's also saying, let's keep Whitney around because, you know, later in the game, she's going to be a real threat to win. So we can throw her under the bus and have the other side go after her first because she's kind of like a meat shield because they're like, she's going to get America's votes, so don't keep her around. Bless you. So then Alex is like, yeah, I think we should keep Morgan because the other side loves Whitney and they're always going to put up people like Alex and Scott before somebody like Whitney because they like her, they want her around. So they're kind of like opposing views there. Obviously, Alex wants to keep her sister around if she can. So then Alex goes ahead and realizes the basic comment to Morgan, and she's like, wait, I'm basic? What? Okay. So then the plastics are still trying to figure out who the target is this week. Is it Scott or is it one of the girls? Because they're way overthinking this. Chrissy has told them multiple times that it's Scott, but they don't believe her because they think that it would be dumb for Chrissy to put up Scott because they think he's going to be America's nominee. So if she then goes ahead and puts up Scott before America can, that's going to free up that space, and America could put up somebody from Chrissy's own alliance. So then the plastics were also speculating that Neely could be lying about her life. Well, she is lying about her age, but they think that she is like a Broadway performer or she's related to Michael Jackson. What? Like, her last name is Jackson, but you know how many Jacksons there are in the world? But they don't really believe that she works at Nordstrom's. I mean, she does have some acting credits. I think she's done some stage stuff. I don't know if it was like in Texas or what, but they're partially right, I guess. Okay, so then they were playing a game of What Are the Odds? This has become like a pre-safety ceremony thing now. So as a result, bless you again, Sneasel's over there, Whitney got a face tattoo from Justin, kind of like Mike Tyson. It was pretty funny. Scott was wearing a towel on his head, like after you get out of the shower and you're trying to dry your hair. And he had what were supposed to be cucumber slices on his eyes, but I guess they didn't have any cukes. So he had like zucchini slices on his eyes. And then for the safety ceremony, every time someone was named safe, Shelby was running around with a broom, dressed like Harry Potter. Morgan did this like weird dance, and she was dressed up in Scott's outfit. You know, that iconic Scott with the blue vest, the plaid shorts, and of course the transitions glasses. Alex was like whipping her hair around. She had these high ponytails. Justin was doing this headbanging thing like, so yeah, for the safety ceremony, all the house guests except for Chrissy gathered in the living room. She went up to the HOH, and they all went through with their what are the odds dares, as Jason, Whitney, and Shelby were all named safe, which means Scott and Morgan are up on the block. So Chrissy comes down from the HOH room. She's got to make her little speech. So she says, Scott, we've had our ups and downs. It's just a game. And Morgan, you're dressed like Scott. It was pretty funny. It was clever. So then Chrissy and Morgan are chatting in the storage room, and Chrissy's telling her again, you're just a pawn. Don't worry. And Morgan's like, it's all good. I trust you. I volunteered myself because I trust you. So then Chrissy's saying, we just got to make sure that Scott does not win this power of veto, and then it's all good. Yeah, but like, what happens if he does? So then Alex, Shelby, and Scott are outside, and they're feeling pretty hopeful, especially Alex. She didn't know if Chrissy was going to go ahead and put up Scott or what, because again, she thought that would be a stupid move. So now that the deed is done, she's feeling hopeful that maybe somebody like Neely could be America's nominee, and then with America's vote, they'd be able to get rid of her during Chrissy's HOH. That's crazy. So then the plastics are eating their dinner, and they're like, we cannot let Scott win that power veto, because they don't want another one of them to go up in his place. So Alex, speaking of the POV, she doesn't even want to play in this POV because Scott is going to expect her to use it on him. So she's playing it off like, oh, if anybody gets house gets choice, like, don't pick me. You should pick, like, Shelby or Whitney, because then they'll have a chance to be safe too, because Alex is already safe this week. So she's like, one of you guys play, you win it, you're safe too, it's all good. But I mean, honestly, if she was going to win, if she was playing the POV and she won, would she use it on her sister? Would she use it on Scott? Would she just let it sit there? I don't know. It's interesting to think about, because if she did use it on Morgan, Shelby or Whitney would have to go up, and Morgan might just be safe up there anyway, so I don't know. It's interesting. But then Chrissy, Justin, and Danielle were up in the HOH room drinking Chrissy's Angry Orchard ciders. And Danielle keeps bringing up, like, maybe Shane's going to come back in the house. And everyone else is just like... So Chrissy's like, that's a nice thought, but you need to get your head back in the game. Oh my god, can you imagine if Shane did come back? Oh! Alright. But anyway, last night was the night of questioning identities. So we already saw that the Ball Smashers were like, oh my god, Neely's related to Michael Jackson. But then the Ball Smashers were talking about last names in the lounge room, and they were like, hey Alex, what's your last name? Now we know that Alex's last name is Willette, but she was like, Walters? And they tell her, that's basic. They seemed a little bit suspicious at first, too. It was interesting. So then Alex was trying to cover it up. When it got to Morgan, she was like, oh, Willette? How do you spell that? You know. Okay, so then later on, they were talking about dating, and, you know, they were going through Shelby's dating requirements. She likes tall guys and guys with good jobs, and somebody brought up like lawyers, and Shelby was like, F lawyers, I'll never date another lawyer. And it almost seemed like she was saying another lawyer as in like she's a lawyer and she doesn't want to, you know what I mean? But apparently, you know, she told stories before about dating lawyers in the past, so I guess she could cover that up. But I was just like, what? Did she just blow her cover? But it's all good. So then, up in the HOH room, Justin goes in there questioning Neely's age with Jason and Danielle. And he's like, there's no way she's only 28. And you know what? Jason and Danielle agree. She's probably in her 30s. And she just doesn't want America to know that. You know how people are like, I'm 29 for like 5 years in a row? I guess it's like one of those situations. I don't know. Apparently, she's like 33, supposedly, in real life. I don't know. But anyway, Jason and Justin were chatting in the backyard, and Justin brings up again, they see that Neely and Morgan are getting a lot closer. It's making Justin very nervous, and Justin's like, I really want to get Neely out of here. I can't trust her. She's running around in that witch hat all the time, and she's a freaking vibe killer. Before, they were having a good time with their Angry Orchards, and then she goes up in there, and she's just sitting there like... And Justin doesn't appreciate that, so he really wants to get rid of her. So then Jason's like, well, if Neely is America's nominee this week, that might be like a little present for us. Like, maybe we should take advantage of that. But then Jason's like, nah, it's too soon to flip. Okay, Helen. But he, you know, he wants to keep the numbers on his side. So he's telling Justin, we need to chill out. It's all good. And Justin's like, oh, I just came up with a really gangster idea. He wants to use the telephones to eavesdrop. You know, you got one in the HOH room. You've got the phone booth in the London phone box. And he's saying, let's leave them both off the hook, and then we can see what's going on. I don't know if they're actually going to do that, but that would be really funny. So then this morning, Jason woke up so pissed because when he opened his eyes, he saw on one of his hands was a crackle wrapper. So he thought either Shelby or Scott had put it there. I'm pretty sure that Alex actually put a few under his pillowcase, like under his pillow, before he even went to sleep or something. So he must have put it in his own hand. He must have like had his hand under the pillow and like, what? But it did not start off his day so good. He was like, don't touch me while I'm sleeping. So then this morning they had America's nominee reveal, and it turns out America nominated Neely. Oh, shit. You could hear a pin drop when that was announced. It was completely silent for a few seconds. It was crazy. So then immediately after that, it was time for the POV player draw. But before they could get into it, Big Brother's like, safety servant. They friggin' made Alex sing happy birthday to Chrissy in the middle of this ceremony. It's not even her birthday. Her birthday's in like June or something, but it was really funny. And Alex cannot sing. She was like, happy birthday! Yeah, Minnie, I made you drop that sock out your mouth. So then it was time to actually pick the players, and Chrissy was drawing the extra players. First, she picked out Justin, and then she picked Scott's name. So that means that he got to pick somebody. And Scott ended up choosing Shelby to play. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna pick Alex. He's gonna pick Alex. But then he went ahead and picked Shelby. So Chrissy decided Whitney is gonna be the host for this competition. And after that was all said and done, Jason was like, I ain't never getting picked for this. So he pulled out all the chips from the bag to make sure that everybody was in there, and they were. Alright, so then after that, Jason, Justin, and Danielle go to the London room. Jason is pissed. He really wanted Shelby to go up. He was expecting it. He called her an anorexic gold digger and like all these other names that are so messed up. I'm not even going to repeat them. And he's like, what are you watching, America? That was an awful accent, but you know what I mean. But it was just too much. And I'm a huge Jason fan, but I gotta say, like, the things that he was saying about Shelby were not okay. It was really gross. I'm sorry. So he was kind of like, he was saying a lot of bad shit all morning. So then the Ball Smashers, total opposite end of the spectrum. They're dancing around, celebrating. But then it was down to business in the lounge room. They're like, Neely's got to stay up on the block. There's a good chance that she could be going home this week. This is crazy. So they're a little bit nervous that America might not want to vote out Neely over Scott. So they're like, maybe Scott should come down. Maybe if Shelby could win it and use it on Scott, then like Whitney would go up in his place. So it would be Whitney and Morgan versus Neely. They kind of like take a chance on it. I don't know. But they're thinking that there's a good chance that Justin's going to throw it. So they need to make sure that Neely or Chrissy do not win. Alright, so then we've got the late night jamboree minus Neely in the London room. And again, Justin's thinking, I don't know, Neely's up on the block now. Maybe we should take her out. And Jason's like, no. We will have another shot at her. This is not the time to do it. We need the numbers right now. So then he's telling Justin, like, you need to make sure that you're going to do everything you can to win this competition and like make sure that Shelby doesn't win it. So Justin is like, I'm not going to make any promises. He's saying though, he doesn't care if Neely goes home, but he reluctantly agrees to use the veto on her if he does win. You know he's going to throw that if he can. Let's be real. So they just started the POV competition a couple minutes ago. This is an individually timed one. So they're going out to the backyard one at a time. They have this huge like rock wall, but it's kind of like a horizontal one. You're not going up. So they have to go across this wall and uncover these questions about the 3 house guests who have been evicted so far. So that's Cornbread, Monty, and Shane. So there's one question for each of them. And they have to go back to the start, get the number that answers the question, put it up there, go back, get the number, put it up, go back. You know, you can only do one tile at a time. So it's going to take a long time, which is why I did not wait to film this today. But we will put the winner of the Power of Veto in the info box for this video later on. So let me know who you guys are rooting for. And until tomorrow, much love.